What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 Chapters Ahead. On today's episode, I'm going to show you guys how we're going to slide into DMs. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that this sliding into DMs is more professional, it's more for businesses and collaborations, and of course to build relationships, but not necessarily on how to hit on girls or hit on guys. So if you're in it for that, I'm sorry. You might learn a thing or two in this video, but this isn't really targeted for that type of industry or niche. Now, let's just get started with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is the most important one that I tell you guys in all my videos. It is to provide value. It is to be consistent online, provide value, put content out there. You have to have some sort of digital footprint online before trying to reach out to different companies and different brands to do collaborations. Because realistically speaking, no one wants to work with a company or a brand or an influencer that doesn't show any initiative, that doesn't have any followers, that's not doing anything on their page, and they're just trying to leech off of someone else. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have posted content on the regular and that we have at least 500, 1,000 followers. Now, the reason for that being, anything under 500 to 1,000 followers is not really going to give you much traction whenever you are doing a collaboration. Now, let's say you have 1,000 followers and someone else has 1,000 followers, you might get, 10 or 15 new followers, which is kind of cool. But what we want to talk about is reaching out. Let's say you are an influencer and you want to reach out to a brand. I'm going to give you guys, influencer to brand, brand to influencer, and company to company. So first thing is influencer to brand. So influencer to, I think that's what I just said. But if I did, let's jump right into it. Influencer to brand. So the way we want to do this is we want to reach out to brands that are obviously in our niche. So if I'm in the beauty niche, I want to reach out to makeup companies, to stylists, and different types of people or brands that are in this industry. So that way I'm relevant with what content I'm going to be posting. If I'm a car guy and I go reach out to a beauty brand and I'm like, hey guys, you want to collaborate and give me some beauty products so I could post them in my car? Not many people are going to follow you or even want to work with you because it's just simply not relevant to their company. So make sure that you are reaching out to brands and companies that are similar to your niche. When you are reaching out to these people, make sure that you have valuable content on your page and you have some sort of traction, and you're doing something. You have showed initiative that you are working on your brand and your company and yourself, and you're not necessarily just trying to leech off of other people. Once you have that in place, go out and reach out to these different brands via DMs. Now, let's say the direct messages, by the way, for the ones that don't understand what DMs are, it's direct messages. Now, direct messages are not just on Instagram. What I like to do sometimes, if I see someone that has 50, 60, 100, 200,000 followers or 1 million plus followers on Instagram, odds are he's on a different platform. So I go and I find all the different platforms that he's on, and I find the one with the least amount of followers. And then with that one, I go and I DM him through that platform. Because he has a lot less traction and a lot less visibility and a lot less people messaging him, I have higher chances of reaching out to him and being able to contact him or her. So make sure that you don't just use the direct messages on Instagram, but use them on all platforms. And even if you must, go to email, guys. So if you need to find a company's email, go find a company's email and send them an email, a personalized message to their brand, and not just a template that you wrote to send out to 100 different emails. Cool? So now let's talk about brand reaching out to influencers. I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to show you guys step by step how a brand reaches out to a person. The way I like to do it is I always like to start my messages with paid collab. This is if it's a paid collab. If it's not a paid collab, I won't write paid and I'll just write collab, right? Like this. So collab. That's if it's not paid. If it's paid, you add paid in front of it. Then you move down. You can either write a text, which is what we're going to do right now, so I could show you guys how I would structure it. But I'm going to give you guys a tip in just a few seconds on how I get about, we'll say 95% open rates and yes rates. Like people say yes to all of our collabs whenever I send it in method number 2, which I'm about to share with you. But we're going to start with tip number 1. Method number 1, not tip number 1, method number 1, collab with fire. And then under that, hey bro, how are you? Always ask how the person is. It shows that you care about the person. How are you? Hope all is well. We saw your videos and we love what you're doing. We would love to collaborate with you. Please let us know if this would be of interest. Okay. So I just wrote out a message. So if you guys notice, everything in this text was about him. How are you? We love to work with you, right? I kept using you. We love your work. Because what happens is we make the person feel special about their work and themselves. And what happens whenever we make people feel special, they get happier and they want to work with you because they feel like, they have worth. This is a quote that I always live by. You guys might like it. Go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated, right? So if you make a person feel celebrated, they're going to want to be there a lot more than whenever you make them feel tolerated. Cool? So this is the way I would do it if it was a text. Now, method number 2 works insanely, like it's unreal how much it works. But I would start off with the same thing. So paid collab or collab. And then what I would do, send that, and I would send a personal video message. Not a text message, a video message. So I'll pick up my phone and I'll be like, hey, how are you? You know what, let's do it. Hey, what's up, bro? How are you doing, man? I recently saw a bunch of your videos on your page, and honestly, I love what you're doing. It seems to fit the brand perfectly. I was wondering if you'd be open to do a collaboration. We would send you some of our products, that way you could show them off on your page, and then we could repost it on our page as well. That way we both get some visibility. Please let me know if you're interested. We would love to work with you, and we are looking forward to hearing back from you, man. Take it easy. So that's it, guys. How you doing, man? That was the video. Saw a bunch of your... And this right here, if I send this, he will open it and he will reply to me. Now, if he does not open it, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to his page and we're gonna comment on his last post. Check DMs, please. Because sometimes they'll get a lot of DMs, but they might not necessarily check it. But if you go and you type this in the comments, odds are they will go check it because most people look at their comments. Again, if they have 100,000 comments, it's a bit harder. But if they only have 40, 50, 60 comments, they will check those DMs because of your comment. So make sure not to accept that no, and make sure to go out there and make them check their DMs. Sounds good, guys? All right, guys. So that was tip number 1 and tip number 2. So tip number 1, we're going to recap. Make sure to have valuable content, you are posting, regularly, and that you are doing something to provide value. Tip number 2, reach out in the DMs using emojis and a video if possible. A reason, by the way, quick, I want to show you guys why we send those messages with just a simple paid collab. It's because when you go into your message requests, if you notice, you could only see about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about like 15 or 20 letters before it gets cut off. So if you write like this guy over here, hi, my name is Jacob, I work for Vita Social Media, I would love to represent your bong store. We're gonna run an Instagram, this and this and this, so we will also run your profiles. Now, this is a horrible way to reach out, guys. This is horrible. Everything was about him. Nothing is about us except for our bong store. Everything was about him, what he does and his social media marketing. But he doesn't say anything about, us and how he feels about us. So this is usually a template message, and this is something we don't want to use ever, guys, because you're not going to get any opens or any replies unless you really need the service. But usually if you're reaching out to a company or a brand, you're not going to get a reply with this type of message. Now, I did say I'm going to go over to business, which is pretty much the same way that a business would reach out to an influencer, but what they would do is fire, collab, fire. Hey, we love your page. We love the way, your content is being posted. We have a similar following, and we were wondering if you'd be interested in a collaboration. Shout out for shout out, whatever you want to call it. And then that way you could bring them on board. Make sure that you mention that you guys have the same type of following, that you guys have both the same amount of followers, give or take, and that you could provide a lot of value to his page because you see that a lot of your followers resemble his followers and that you guys can work something out together. So just make sure to send the same thing, but in a more of a business type of text format versus trying to reach out to someone as an influencer or someone reaching out as a brand. You just have to word it properly. So let's say everything went well. You posted all your content, you have a decent amount of followers, you reached out to the person in the DMs, they replied to you, and now what do? Here's a few things that I see people do whenever they get a reply. Let's say we're gonna start off with the negative replies, because realistically speaking, guys, you will be denied from, you know, certain collabs. Some people will say no to you, and that's completely fine. It's okay for people to have their opinion and for them to not want to work with you. It's completely fine. It's a numbers game, right? So the more people you're gonna reach out to, the more chances of you actually getting a yes. Sometimes the company is not looking for influencers at the moment. Sometimes they just don't like your niche, they don't like your category, they don't like your followers. Again, don't ruin or burn your bridges, guys, because I've had companies come back 2-3 months later, reach out to me and wanted to work with me. Now, I don't have much of an ego when it comes to these things, because, you know, I understand everything is just business. So whenever they told me no at the moment, I was like, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. If anything ever opens up in the future, please let me know. I would love to be a part of your company or whatever it may be. And, you know, 3-4 months later, they reached out to me and said, hey, we have some open spots. Since you were, you know, whatever, let's work together. But if, let's say I replied like, whatever, you guys are missing out, sure, KK, whatever. If you reply anything like that, the company doesn't want to work with you. They don't want to work with anyone that's rude to them. No one wants to work with anyone that's rude to them. That's why we hate bosses that are rude to us, right? So what we want to do is be as nice as possible to these agencies, to these people, to other, you know, influencers. I think I've covered everything for the DMs today, guys. If you guys still have any questions about how to slide into DMs, if you have any personal questions like literally like, hi Sam, I want to know how I could slide into this person's DM or this brand's DM, please reach out to me. I would love to help each and every single one of you guys, maybe with like a little text template that could help you step by step. So if you do have questions, comment below. And if you did learn something today, I really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button, because every single week I'm going to be bringing you guys a video to make sure that you guys are always 2 chapters ahead.